The number in your head that's keeping you stuck renting, it's a lie. You've been told that you need 20% down to buy a home in Philadelphia, and that one myth is quietly costing you thousands of dollars in rent every single year. So today, I'm going to be blowing up that myth completely, and I'll show you the real number, the actual cash that you need to buy your first home here in the city of Philadelphia. And I promise, I guarantee you, it's way less than you think. I've been doing real estate right here in Philadelphia since July of 2012, and I've sat across the table from hundreds of first-time home buyers who walked in believing that they believed this exact same lie. Let's talk about this whole 20% thing, even if you know where it came from, all that stuff. Because once you understand it, you won't necessarily be scared of it and see it as this daunting obstacle. And real quick though, if you're serious about buying a home here in Philadelphia, do me a favor and hit that like and subscribe button right now. Because I put out real, no nonsense Philly home buying advice every single week, and I don't want you missing it. So, all right, let's get into it. So where exactly did this 20% down come from? Basically, a long time ago, 20% down was like this way to avoid something called PMI. And PMI stands for Private Mortgage Insurance. It's basically a small extra monthly fee that lenders charge when you put down less than 20%. That's it. That's all it is. That's the whole reason. So this 20% was never actually like a rule that said you can't buy a home. It's just a number that let you skip that small PMI payment every month. So I don't know what happened. Somewhere along the way, people started treating it like it was like law and you had to have the 20%. Like you literally could not buy a house without 20% down. And then that lie kept good, hardworking Philadelphia renters stuck paying somebody else's mortgage for who knows how many years. All right, number two, let's talk about what you actually can put down, because this is where it actually gets good. There's actually a loan out there called an FHA loan, and it only asks for 3.5% down. Let me put that into like Philadelphia numbers. Say you're buying a row home for $300,000. You're going to put 20% down would be $60K in cash plus closing costs of like another $15,000, which that's brutal. That's like years of saving. But 3.5%, it's only $10,500. Same house, same keys, a fraction of the cash needed. And it gets even lower. There are even conventional loan programs out there that let first-time home buyers put down just 3%. So on that same $300K, that 3% is $9,000. And if you happen to be a veteran, you can get a VA loan and it gets you down to $0. $0 down. You just have to pay for closing costs. So the truth is, 20% was never the door. It was just the most expensive way through it, basically. So here's the next thing I love. And honestly, this is like the part that most buyers have no idea that really even exists. Number three, down payment assistance in Philadelphia. You see, the city and the state actually have these programs. They're designed to hand you money to help you buy. They're trying to incentivize homeownership, which is a good thing. Philadelphia has run like a program that gives qualified first-time home buyers thousands of dollars, I would say, towards their payment and closing costs. I mean, like I've seen $15,000, $20,000 situations. There's also statewide help through Pennsylvania's housing agency. So most buyers I work with, they don't even have a clue that these types of programs exist, and at least not until I tell them. And that's real money too, by the way, guys. That's like, sometime that's, like I said before, like $10,000, $15,000, $20,000 just left sitting on the table because nobody knew to even ask the question, like, what can I get here? Is there something to get? I mean, if I had $1 for every buyer that used these programs now, I mean, I could probably take a nice vacation with that, because there are a lot of buyers who couldn't initially qualify for something, but they went through one of these programs and they got a grant or they got an assistance of some kind from the state or the city, and all of a sudden now their only cash required is to buy a house is less than $10,000. It's like, okay, man, I can get into this house now. Like I don't need the $60,000 plus closing costs that we'd mentioned before. Actually, a funny story. I actually had a woman once buy a house, and she was so connected with all of her programs that she had stacked them, a couple of them, and then she got another something from the lender, and it was basically she showed up to settlement and got paid $1,000, which was crazy. It's like you bought a house and then they gave you money at settlement, which that has happened one time in my 14 years, but it was pretty wild to see. So half the reason people think that they can't afford a home is because they kind of like, I've had people think that they're picturing some kind of multi-million-dollar place in Center City with a view and a skyline and all that fun stuff. But that's not what the real market here in Philadelphia actually is when you buy it, especially when you're buying your first home. It's not a first home is like something you're like just getting into. Maybe you stay for a few years, maybe you stay for a while, but it's not supposed to be like the end all be all. I'm going to live here for 50 years type of deal. That's almost never the case. I would say it usually becomes a rental, or they sell it and move up to something nice or nicer than what they had. As far as the real market in Philadelphia goes, I mean, we've got solid livable neighborhoods all over the city, and a lot of them with homes that you can get into a home in Philadelphia under $300,000, like a place in a decent neighborhood as well. I would say you could have places where there's you could go to the corner spot, get something to eat, grab a soft pretzel, hop on SEPTA, and get down to Center City if you want to. But you actually own the roof over your head. And yeah, I'll say this: the plumbing might be a little old because half the homes in our city are like older than the country itself. But I would say charm like that is exactly what you're paying too much for in rent right now. Why not just own the charm? So let's put it all together, because number 4 is where we're going to do some real math here. And this is the part I want you I would say you could screenshot this part. So on a $300,000 home in Philadelphia, you're looking at $60K. With FHA, it's going to be around $10,500 for the down payment. And then obviously add in closing costs. And yes, those are real. Like we talked about, it could be, $15,000. But then you subtract that down with using payment assistance, so that you might qualify for it. You got to fit into the window for payment assistance or grants and things like that. This is why I got to get my t-shirt still, but you got to talk to your lender first, because there are income limits, there are credit score requirements. You have got to fit in that window. But if you do fit in that window, then you could use this grant money to eliminate some of these costs for you. But to bring it back real quick, so you get your payment assistance, and then suddenly that scary $60,000 number, that $60,000 number turns into something more like 8 or 10 or 12, and that's actually that's easily overcomable. Much more easily overcomable than $60,000. I mean, by no means is it like a fantasy at all. That's like a used Honda. Except at the end of it, you actually own a home that's going to increase in value instead of just stack rent receipts, or like a Honda just decline in value and become nothing. And last but not least, I want to talk about the part that nobody puts a dollar figure on. And this is an important part. It's actually critically important. It's the cost of waiting. Every single year that you sit and you save for that 20% down payment that you don't even need anymore, or never needed, 2 things happen. Rent goes up and home prices go up. When I first started here, homes in Philadelphia, like in Point Breeze, for example, they were like $300,000-$400,000. Now, Point Breeze, I can see homes selling for $600,000, $700,000. I mean, that's nearly double. And it's been a decade and a half. So it's not that much time. So if you're waiting for some fake number like this 20% down, or if you're waiting for the interest rates to go back down to 3% like they were, 2% like they were during COVID, like, you are making a huge mistake. And I'm saying that in the nicest way possible, because the real words I want to use are probably not YouTube appropriate. So basically, I'm just saying, don't wait for that fake number, because the finish line is quite literally running away from you. Meanwhile, the buyer who didn't wait or didn't try to get a certain interest rate, they put down the 3.5% last year. Now they're already building equity, their payment is locked in, and they're not sweating over the landlord's next rent hike. Also, let me show you, or let me tell you a story real quick about a buyer of mine who used an FHA loan, because I want to state this: the ROI on real estate when you buy with an FHA loan or a VA loan, or anytime you put down a very low amount of cash, the ROI is crazy. I just sold a house for a guy last year. He had bought the house from me, I'd say 5 or 6 years prior, and he put down 3.5%. Bought the home with an FHA. Bought it with a VA loan. So because he was a veteran, he did not put any money down. All he did was pay for closing costs, which were about, I think, $8,000 roughly. So he's into this house for $8,000, and he just sold the house now for about last year. He's just sold the house for $75,000-ish or $80,000 over what he paid for it. So obviously he's got closing costs as a seller as well. when it all said and done, in 5 years or 5 or 6 years, his $8,000 investment to buy this house turned into like $50,000 or $60,000. It's like, where are you getting that ROI anywhere else? That ROI is great. You're making like $7,000-$8,000 a year or something like that. Is that right? Is that math right? You check math. I don't think that math's right. But you're making a lot of money per, what is it? 60 divided by 5? So 12. You're making $12,000 a year. So that's basically $1,000 a month to own that house. So it's a good ROI. All right, so there you have it. You do not need 20% down to buy a home in Philadelphia, but you've got, like I said before, you've got FHA at 3.5%, conventional at 3%, VA at 0%, and then obviously the real down payment assistance programs that we talked about. And I've got other videos to go over the down payment programs in more detail as well, so you feel free to go check those out. But for now, the only thing standing between you and your front door is basically a myth. And now you know the truth. So if you're sitting there thinking, okay, what would this actually look like for me and my budget and my situation? Like, is this actually possible for me? That's, all right, listen, guys, that's literally what I do all day. So feel free to reach out to me. You can call me directly, text, email, whatever works for you, and I'll walk you through the numbers. And by the way, no pressure, no sales pitch. We don't do that here. It's weird, it's gross. But if the video that you just watched cleared things up for you, and I would like to ask, please hit that like and subscribe button for more straight up Philly home buying advice. I do this every single week, and I'll see you guys in the next one.